Welcome to Get in the Ring with DJ D Coops and Beast Mike on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Yes, it is. Time to get in the ring with DJ D Cooks and Beast Mike. Beast Mike?
Yep. What's happening, everyone? It was hot in the city today. It's like it
was 90s. Hot. It was very hot. It was very hot, and we decided. I almost forgot. We also decided to spotlight some charities.
Yes. So D Cooks wanted to kind of obviously what's been going on in the world so far over the last 2.5-3 weeks. It's been kind of chaotic. It's been nuts. So he wanted for us to kind of spotlight some things and kind of show some love, to support the black community, which I truly appreciate. I'm obviously black, and obviously D Cooks is white. So I truly appreciate the love that he's thinking about putting on. So yes. What I did, I ended up finding some businesses. Actually, I took it a little bit of a different direction, and some businesses to support in the black community for everyone here, and some restaurants, because I've been doing a local kick since this pandemic started of kind of buying local, kind of supporting smaller businesses and like ordering from some local spots around town. So that's been a pretty good sign. But there's been some businesses to support here, like Brown Capital Management, Beauty Bakeria. That's a business in San Diego. Brown Capital Management in Baltimore. We got Brio Nego, which is in New York. There's Curl. He's all from Forbes, by the way. I'll send the links out. In Dallas. Estu going back in New York again. Mayavin is in Oakland. McBride Sisters Collection, also Oakland. These are where their headquarters are at. Nightlight Pediatric is in Sugar Land, Texas. We got a Red Bay Cafe in Oakland, a coffee in Oakland as well. And there's been some other ones here, but I'll send the links out in a moment. The other thing that I found, which I find to be really cool, there's an app for those in the Philly, Detroit, and Atlanta areas. There's actually an app where one could actually do what I've been doing, which is kind of supporting local areas. But this one's called Black and Mobile, with a bunch of there's several different restaurants that are black owned that one could actually support and show some love to during this time, and really any time in general. It looks like there's some really good foods here. There's a whole lot of different restaurants in the Philadelphia area. They kind of separated it by region of the city. So you can kind of order from them, and they'll deliver similar to like DoorDash. So I found that to be a really cool sign.
And something I'm passionate about is mutual aid. Philly. Mutual aid is basically a charity that helps disabled folks and people in affected communities need aid, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Basically with resources and with like helping getting independence towards. Okay. They help underserved communities. They help if you want to help with grocery shopping, prescription pickup, cash, emotional support, truly anything. You can fill out a form, and they can reach with you. Anything that's not medical care. you know.
Okay.
And they work in Center City and in South Philly. Mutual aid is all any city in the country, but I like to spotlight Philly because we're from Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard I sort of heard like I want to donate to something that affects my community as well, you know, and it's a good way to affect my I can't speak today. My charity is mutualaidphilly.com, and you can read about it there. And um and it's definitely a good cause.
All right. So yeah, before we get into wrestling, the other thing I want to kind of get into or kind of show some love to, it's as much as the whole Black Lives Matter movement's kind of taking over the world. Let's not lose sight that it is Pride Month. Pride Month 2020
Pride.
is here. The LGBT community, there's no normal celebration, their annual celebration around the globe. I know some friends who are in some of those categories.
My brother and my sister are LGBT.
Right. So let's not lose sight that it's their month as well, and I'm sure there's some celebrations going around the United States and the world for that matter. Unfortunately, I think Boston might have canceled some because of what's been going on. But yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of stuff that happens over the last month. So hopefully things are in the wake of protests, Boston did cancel their a lot of their rallies because of the protests. But hopefully things are able to go on. They calm down for the protests. I noticed a lot of the Center City stuff has been reopened, so it looks like things are going to be okay in Center City, Philly. Michigan's doing a thing for Pride Month as well. There's going to be a lot of online exhibitions. The Guardian has a good link of online celebrations. So hopefully everyone, those who are, and even those who support the LGBT community can do their thing and kind of bring awareness to Pride Month. So let's not lose sight of that as well.
Yeah, let's not lose sight of all the minorities and all the people who are allies as well.
Right.
But yeah, I don't want to make it sound awkward.
No. I think it was good that we kind of showed some love and kind of spread the word in these particular endeavors. Just to kind of kick this off. But we're here for wrestling, and that's what we normally do.
But we're here for wrestling, and we love wrestling, and that's what we're here for. And where do you want to start? This is a loaded week.
Oh yeah, and also there's some UFC had some fights that had a big show. The UFC 250 last week. Yep, UFC 250 last week had some good stuff. And there were some NyQuil moments, which I'm very happy about on Saturday night. There were some NyQuil moments. I'm actually going back on the Twitters to refine those NyQuil moments where people got dropped, and it was quite hilarious.
249 was pretty good too.
Is what?
UFC 249 was pretty good too.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So there was a sugar show. The sugar show happened. It happened smooth. I don't know. Watching the knockout. Ironically, the sugar show runs through with a come through run through KO. As ironically, his hair is painted rainbow color. His dreads were. His braids were rainbow colored, and delivered the goods with a thunderous right hand, and then they basically deleted his opponent from verticality. It happened well. So that's obviously a good NyQuil moment right there.
Cody Garbrandt delivered a knockout to Rafael Santel as
yes, I saw that
second knockout in the second round.
Yeah.
That was pretty nice.
That was some good NyQuil. Yep. He got caught. Yeah, he definitely did get caught at the end. into that. So we got some good Nightfall involved in UFC 250. So from what I understand, and Nunes with another dominating performance. Amanda Nunes putting in more work as
50
she
to
continues.
44, 50 to 44, 50, 45.
Yeah, so Amanda Nunes did her thing as well, winning all the rounds and retaining her championship. So Amanda does her thing. So, okay, we got, what do you want to do first? You want to do TakeOver in your house? Or you want to do New Japan Cup?
Let's leave the Wednesday night stuff till later.
Okay.
Let's do New Japan Cup. I am super psyched that New Japan is coming back Monday.
Yes.
With the special, and then Tuesday with New Japan Cup. It's really exciting.
Yeah, so this news dropped on yesterday. This news dropped yesterday, and I think it caught everybody by surprise. Like, oh, New Japan's coming back. Like, oh, everybody was tripping about it. So there's 16 guys on the bracket.
32.
Let's see. There's 30. Yeah, you're right. 32 guys in the bracket here. There's gonna be some matches coming on next Tuesday and next Wednesday, and then matches on the following Monday and Tuesday. So, D Coops, you want the left side or the right side of the bracket?
I'll go starting. I have the one starting in the dates. So
like I got the whole bracket. So
I have the whole bracket too, but I have them by date as well. So
yeah,
I'll go them by date. So Tuesday, June 16th, the first round is going to be Togi Makabe versus Yota Tsuji, Tomohiro Ishii versus El Desperado, Toriano versus Jado, and Tomoaki Hama versus Hiromu Takahashi. And the winners from that Togi Makabe from Yota Tsuji is going to be Tomohiro Ishii, and all these winners are mutually exclusive. Wednesday, first round. Kazuchika Okada gets his hands finally on Gato.
This has been what? It's been what? A year and a half? Like almost 2 years in the making? Almost?
Yeah, almost 2 years in the making. Yuji Nagata versus Minoru Suzuki. Yuya Uemura versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Gabriel Kidd, who's actually a young lion living in Japan.
Okay.
This is Taiji Ishimori. And those are the matches on June 17th. There's going to be one non-tournament match in each of these.
Mm-hmm.
For Monday, June 22nd, we have and all of these are going to be taking place at an undisclosed location, except for the finals, which is going to be taking place at approximately a third of capacity Osaka-jo Hall.
Mm-hmm. Now the finals on July 11th, and so the right side of this bracket that will start June 22nd is Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Taichi, Kota Ibushi versus Zack Sabre Jr., which that's a match I'm certainly looking forward to.
This is the bracket of death right here. Right.
Yeah, this June 22nd start date. This is the group of death. Absolutely is the group of Ryusuke Taguchi versus Sanada and Sho versus Shingo. This is definitely the group of death bracket. You're not kidding. This is the group of death bracket. This looks like it's the hardest bracket of the four. And then we got the stuff that's happening June 23rd. So 2 weeks from yesterday. We got Hiroshi Tenzan versus Yoshihashi, Yo versus Bushi, Satoshi Kojima versus Evil, and Hiroki Goto versus Yujiro Takahashi. So that's your stuff. That's the matches for June 23rd. And on the left side of the bracket that D Coops revealed, there the quarterfinal matches are going to, or the round of 16s are going to be on June 24th. On the bracket side I revealed, the round of 16s are going to be on July 1st. And then each quarterfinals
all four quarterfinal matches are going to take place on. All the quarterfinals are going to take place on July 2nd. Mm-hmm. All the semifinals are going to take place on July 3rd.
And then the finals July 11th. So I think the thing that sticks out to me here is the disadvantage that the right side of the bracket's gonna have. When just the matter, just the time difference. It seems from their first match is a week after almost. Their first matches are a week after the bracket on the left side.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, okay, everything's on the 24th. They go week after. But the disadvantage comes in the quarterfinals, where they only have 1 day of rest, and it's just the time. It's just the timing of the other matches. I mean, that's the part that kind of that throws me off a little bit. So, but this should be a very good tournament. I think this is going to be a very good tournament. The round 1 match you're most looking forward to?
This is not even a question.
Okay.
It's either Shingo versus Sho or Zack Sabre Jr. versus Kota Ibushi.
Yeah, Sabre Ibushi definitely for me, and because I'm a fan of the story of the whole storylines and stories playing out, Gato getting his comeuppance, I think it's of interest to me. How Okada's finally going to get his hands on Gato after Gato turned on him almost 2 years ago, which led to all the stuff that happened with Jay White at Wrestle Kingdom last year, and
I really like how that's not going to be in front of a crowd.
Yeah,
it's going to be weird as hell, but
I think it's gonna be good to see New Japan back. I think it's gonna be very. Well, now, I do wonder, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna just have nobody in the building but commentators and cameramen? Or are they gonna have like wrestlers in the crowd, like young lions in the crowd, like AEW has had, or WWE has had, with talent in the crowd? I do wonder how they're gonna play that part. Yeah, so I think that's going to be the other part that's intriguing. The match, the quality itself is going to be very good, but that's just what New Japan does. But I do wonder how they're going to play that. I do wonder how they're going to play this. So that's New Japan Cup.
Sounds good on paper, but in front of an empty building.
Yeah.
Concerns me a little bit. But who do you think's winning this thing?
It'll be a good tournament. I'm just playing out the tournament in my head. Let's see. I would think.
Oh God,
that's a good question. This is such a good tournament. Boy. I'm going to go.
They have to throw a lot of storyline things out a window.
Yeah. I think I think you do have to start this with a clean slate. And if anybody beats Okada, you probably get a title shot right away. I
mean Naito.
Or not? Yeah, right. Naito. That's right. Naito has both titles. Yeah. So if anybody, anyone gets a shot at. Yeah, Naito's not in this tournament, so whoever wins, in theory, whoever wins gets Naito. So honestly, I want to see Shingo win it. I want to see Shingo win it. I want to see Shingo get a shot at Naito. To tell the truth, I think that would be really, really entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I will go for stablemate. Sonata.
Okay. Yes, I'll go Shingo. I kind of want to see that. I kind of want to see Shingo win in one of these big tournaments and kind of get put on. But yeah, I think I do agree. I think you have to I think you do kind of have to start this with a clean slate, and then and you just take it from there.
And the reason why Zack Sabre Jr. is in there is because he lives in Japan.
That makes sense because obviously he is British. So that makes a ton of sense. So that's why he's.
So he lives in Japan. He literally lives in Japan.
Yes, so that's perfectly fine. So yeah, this tournament looks dope. Obviously we'll have we'll keep track of this tournament all the way through. It starts on Tuesday. So yeah, we'll obviously keep track of this. This tournament looks like it's gonna be dope.
I'm getting my wrestling back. I'm getting my wrestling back.
Things are starting to come back. MLS coming back. Hockey's coming back in late July. NBA late July. MLS is coming back at the start of July. Things are starting to come back. Things are starting to really come back.
I'm getting my wrestling
back.
But
D Kooks is wrestling back. This is the company that the D Kooks rolls with. Yeah, he rocks the AEW and to a lesser extent WWE, but New Japan is the company that D Kooks literally stays up all night to watch. I kid you not. He will stay up all night to watch this. If this is on at 3 a.m. in the morning, D Kooks is like, all right, I'm in. Just give me whatever caffeine I need to stay up. I got you. This is the company the D Kooks stays up for. And I mean that seriously. This is the company D Kooks rocks with on a full-time basis. Is New Japan.
Yeah.
So that's why when he says this is his wrestling back, he means that with a capital my.
Let's go to the takeover in your house.
I love the setup and the kind of like throwback kind of cheesy promos that they did during the show. I thought that was a very nice touch. The kind of with the nostalgia feel to it. I thought that was nice. The takeover in your house started off with a 6-woman tag of Mia Yim, Shotzi Blackheart, Tegan Nox versus Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, kind of combining a couple rivalries here. It was the faces that got it done. Mia Yim and Candice LeRae fought to the back. More on them later.
This had good energy. This had good energy, I said.
Yes, it did. It did. It definitely did have good energy from all six. All 6 women did their thing. Ultimately, it was Tegan Nox finally getting her revenge on Dakota Kai and finishing the deal and getting the pin. So Tegan Nox with a solid win there. Yeah, it was a good show opener. A good way to start the show.
I go 3 1/4.
Yeah, that's probably about right. It was a good way to begin things and begin the proceedings.
Probably the best match on the show next.
I'm not sure. Probably. I think it definitely was the best match. Finn versus Damian Priest. And Damian Priest really brought it. Damian Priest, he absolutely brought his best. He brought his A game to Finn Balor. The match really turned at the point where Priest tried to do the move on the stair, tried to do his crucifix bomb on the stairs. Instead, Balor countered and eventually sent Priest back first into them. From that point on, it was all Balor. Put it Ross 1, 2, 3. Balor gets it done. But this was a very good match. I'd probably go 4 1/4 for it. I thought this was very entertaining from start to finish.
I'm right at 4 flat. Really good stuff here. Really physical. Gargano Lee, a little too long for my liking.
I like the quality. I like the chemistry. I like the psychology of Gargano working a lot of the offense on the eye because of the key thing he did last week, and the hand because of jamming the hand into the steel steps. I did like that.
But this did not need to be a half hour.
It did.
This did not need to be a half hour.
Actually, it was 20 minutes. Actually, it was 20 minutes and change.
It felt like a half hour.
It did probably feel a little bit longer than it needed to be. I think they absolutely went at a Gargano's pace. Whereas Gargano comes out with like 20 to 30 minute matches, as opposed to Keith Lee matches are usually like 15 to 20. So this was This needed to be. I think this needed to be a Keith Lee's pace, which is for a guy his size, he goes with a faster match normally. It seems. I think that's the kind of pace I would like to see if they run it back.
Should have ended. This is where the match should have ended. After all the outside shit. And then they should have gone to the finish right after the outside shit.
Now, the interferences by Mia and Candice interferences, yeah, that was obvious based off of the previous week's events.
Do the interference earlier in the match,
right?
Then the outside stuff.
Yeah. Then the pounce, and then Lee dominates, and then Lee basically closes it out from pounce on. From pounce on. So I think if they had that match but sped it up by 5 minutes, I think it would have been perfectly fine. I would have had no beef with it if it were all the stuff they did would speed it up by 5 minutes. I think it would have been perfectly fine. I think that would have taken what I think was a 3.5 star to a 4 or 4.25 even if they sped it up by 5 minutes. So I think that's the route I would go with this match personally.
But I did like the Johnny Gargano looking at the photo of Doc Hendricks.
That was nice. That was a nice little edit that they did when it had the Gargano house dinners, and then kind of leading into the house setup, which I thought that was a nice setup. I was a fan of that, and then Gargano literally opening the door, coming through the door, and then locking it with the key. I thought that was a really nice setup. I thought that was really good. I was a fan of that. Cole and Velveteen Dream in a parking lot brawl. Eddie and Cena. This was not. I just couldn't get into this match. I legitimately couldn't get into it like I wanted to. And I'm a big fan of Velveteen Dream. I just couldn't get into the match.
This was horrendous.
I couldn't get into it. I just could never really find my way into this match. It never appeared, and which is sad because normally in these last chance matches, the person with the last chance normally wins. I just never got the sense throughout this match that Velveteen was actually going to win it. And that's sad. That saddens me. Because I think Velveteen absolutely is a guy that could be an NXT champion or a champion on the main stage by now. But
it was better than Money in the Bank. I'll give it that.
Oh, but in the ladder match, absolutely it was.
But it's not as good. But it wasn't nothing.
It wasn't Last Ride of Firefly. It wasn't Last Ride of Firefly. But it was probably. But it was definitely better than MITV. And better than Gargano Ciampa, the Final Heartbeat. That part I agree. That I agree with.
Velveteen sort of looked like a badass, but
he did.
I sort of think if he's gonna look like that much of a badass, he should win.
That's what I'm saying. Like now, what do you do with him? Like, there's nothing. Okay, he doesn't get that signature win. But what do you do with him now? Do you call him up, or do you have him fight other dudes in NXT, or do you have him stall until Cole loses? So like it is, you kind of pay Velveteen Dream in a box now.
Yeah.
So that's my problem with it. I think it should have been Velveteen.
Yeah.
But Cole retains, thanks to a little bit of help from Undisputed Era and some Dexter Lumis stuff, which I'll get to later on in this broadcast. And Cole wins with the Panama Sunrise and a bunch of chairs. So Cole retains the title, and Velveteen can't challenge him challenge for the title until Cole loses. Karrion Kross versus Tommaso Ciampa. And
this entrance sucks. There
are problems with the entrance. Bell to bell, Karrion Kross is done.
Fall and pray. I was laughing at this entrance. I was unironically laughing at this entrance. This was my first time seeing this entrance. I was laughing at this entrance. I was like, what the fuck was this? This was comical. This was pitiful. I'm like, who the fuck came up with this? I'm like, why? Why would you? This doesn't make the man look intimidating. And then the small crowd of wrestlers are chanting, fall and pray, fall and pray.
This is an entrance absolutely fit for the crowd. It's
so fucking dumb.
It's dumb as it is. It's an entrance I think the crowd would actually kind of get into. I don't know why, but I think the crowd would actually get into it. They would get into it for all the wrong reasons because it's fucking dumb. I think the crowd. I think once the audience can come back and actually watch WWE, I think that's the crowd's going to get into it. I really do. I think they're actually going to get into it, and it's going to become a thing. I don't know why. I kind of agree. I'm more on your side on this. This entrance really isn't that good. The theme song is fine. The other stuff not named.
Make Scarlett Bordeaux look not sexy. How did you do that?
That's really hard to do. She's fine. That's not what I said.
She's hot.
But bell to bell, let's call a spade a spade. Karrion Kross destroyed Tommaso Ciampa. This was, like I said with Velveteen, at no point in this match looked like Ciampa was actually going to win this match. He had maybe 2 moves of offense in said match. Cross destroyed him, and Cross really he put him to sleep. He didn't even pin him or Ciampa didn't tap out or anything. He just put him to sleep by technical submission. So it was a wrap there. Straight jacket, the jacket hold, and then probably arguably the second best, if not the best match. And they made the right decision having the 3 women, Io, Rhea, and Charlotte, close the show with this triple threat for the NXT Women's Championship. They made the right decision having those 3 close it. I think I'd close the show, and I think it was very entertaining. I was really entertained from start to finish.
I would put it on the same level as Battle Priest.
Yeah, right. I'm on that 4 1/4 kick with these as well. It's Io's time to be NXT Women's Champion, and let's see where she can take it. I think Charlotte's work and efforts of trying to put on the title and expose the title to different audiences, I think actually was a good job. I think it was perfectly fine that Charlotte was able to just eyeballs on the set because Charlotte's mainstream, putting it on, giving it more attention. I think was perfectly fine. Charlotte, I think, did a pretty good job as NXT Women's Champion. I guess Rhea taking the pin because they're not going to have the Golden Goose of the women's division get pinned, but so often. Okay, fine. Rhea gets the pin, fine. Rhea still got a good amount of momentum. I'm sure Rhea will be back in the women's title picture soon enough. But Io was the right decision to win it. Io absolutely is the right decision to win the title. It's just her time. It's just Io's time to take the title and run. It just be the monster that she's been over the last, pretty much since her heel turn, almost a year ago. So I'm good with this. I'm perfectly good with Io winning the title. So all in all, an okay NXT Takeover. The 2 matches that we both look at are Balor Priest and a triple threat. But all in all, an okay Takeover.
Yeah. So Dynamite. The show begins with Chris Jericho entering to join commentary. This will come to play later. FTR defeats Butcher and the Blade. This was pretty excellent, actually. This was a pretty good tag. Harwood would hit Blade with a superplex, and Wheeler would immediately hit a top rope splash for a near fall. Blade rolled up Harwood for a 2 count. Butcher tagged in. Butcher Blade hit Magic Killer Uranage combination. The finish saw where Harwood hit the Goodnight Express, which is the Shatter Machine.
Okay.
Renamed. Then they followed up with the Spike Pile Driver on the Blade for the pin. Then they had a little interview segment with the Young Bucks. Saying that they were they've carried tag team wrestling for the last 15 years. And then FTR jumped the Bucks from behind. Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian ran in. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page thundered in. FTR and the Bucks cleared the ring. No, the Butcher and the Blade jumped the Bucks from behind. Jimmy Havoc, Kip Sabian ran in. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page thundered in. FTR, Omega, Page, and the Bucks cleared the ring, and the end of the segment. They're holding off on the ultimate destination, which is, of course, FTR and the Bucks. The next match is Penelope Ford. They did a little segment with QT and the Natural Nightmares, Brandy Rhodes and Allie, saying Allie won't be at ringside next week because she's a distraction because she was wearing a Natural Nightmares jacket. Penelope Ford and Nyla Rose defeat Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander. This was pretty good. Finish came when Shida hit a knee strike on Rose. Shida hit the Falcon Arrow on Ford for a 2 count. Sabian grabbed Shida's ankle. With the referee distracted, Shida threw the belt to Ford. Ford hit Shida with the belt, and then the Fisherman suplex for the pin. And then we got Tony Hawk.
I was able to watch this little segment with Tony Hawk and Darby Allin. I did see this.
Yeah, this was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. It actually was. Of Darby Allin trying to do
Baker promo video. She said she faced more challenges than Big Swole or anyone else in AEW, and she's happy to be a role model for anyone in AEW, but she needs to be respected. Orange Cassidy, Trent, and Chuck Taylor defeat the Inner Circle. The finish saw Cassidy use a crucifix pin on Ortiz, and the Inner Circle lay out Cassidy. Jericho retrieves a bag of blood oranges. Orange Cassidy gets busted open from the baseball bat shot from Jericho. They're obviously teasing a Jericho versus Cassidy match.
Mm-hmm.
And Jericho hits Cassidy with blood oranges. And Jericho said that blood orange Cassidy has been juiced. So that has been added to one of Jericho's legendary lines.
Jericho's he's got lines for days. He really does.
And Shivani interviews MJF. MJF cut an excellent promo about being undefeated for 2 years, and yet somehow Jungle Boy gets a TNT shot last week.
I mean, he's got a case. I mean, he did beat Jungle Boy the last pay-per-view, so he does have a beef.
And MJF said he's the great white shark swimming in a pool of minnows. Billy Gunn interrupted and said he's a great white. MJF said he's shocked that Billy isn't trying to get another one of his worthless sons a job. Billy grabbed MJF's wrist. MJF called for Wardlow. Wardlow intervened and the angle ended. And then there was a package about Dark Order's attempts to recruit Colt Cabana. Sammy Guevara defeats Colt Cabana. The pin saw Colt Cabana go for the Chicago Skyline. Cabana slipped on the ropes, and then Guevara then hit the GTH for the pin. Go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Brody Lee then entered with the Dark Order. Then Lee helped Cabana from his feet and then left. And then Cabana followed Lee through the heel tunnel. And then Guevara then demanded his music be played. I just can't speak tonight. Holy shit. Guevara said he's the best wrestler in AEW. Matt Hardy enters. Said he has no problem with Sammy. Sammy said he's the best, is the future, and he's the future, and it reminds him of a young Matt Hardy. Hardy said Sammy has potential, but he needs to get away from Jericho. Sammy said he can't trust Hardy because Hardy tried to kill him. And then Matt Hardy said he would went from 2020 Matt to Matt's Facts Matt to Damascus, and said he would eat and delete Sammy. That's Matt Hardy, everybody. Joey Janela video package play. This was an interesting video package. They're teasing they're rehabbing the Joey Janela character.
Okay.
Cabana entered Lee's dressing room. Next week it will be Billy versus MJF, Omega and Page versus the Natural Nightmares for the tag team titles, a TNT title match, Jericho and Guevara versus the Best Friends for a shot at the tag titles at Fyter Fest. And Young Bucks versus Havoc and Sabian. And then out to my best interviews, Moxley gets confronted by Taz, and then Brian Cage attacks. And then Mark Quinn and Cody have a really good match. Quinn goes for the shooting star press, Cody sidesteps, and then when crashes the mat, Cody catches him in an ankle lock, and then Quinn taps. And they did an angle where Jake Hager attacks Cody, and then Hardy, Cassidy and Quinn chase off Hager, and then the Inner Circle come down. Guevara and Santana Ortiz come down, and they have a big brawl to end the show. Good Dynamite.
Okay.
And
NXT had to follow up Takeover. They did some recaps. They recapped all the matches as they normally do with some backstage interviews. You kind of get the idea as they do it. So the show starts with Adam Cole declaring himself the most dominant man in NXT. It's hard to disagree considering Cole's held the title for now 375 days. It's the first man to hold the NXT championship over a year, keeping in mind obviously Asuka's run with the women's championship. So Cole cuts a promo. They plugged earlier in the day that Cole was going to fight Dexter Lumis in the main event this evening. Roddy Strong was absolutely shook the whole night that Lumis was lurking all around the Undisputed Era, and he kind of was in the crowd, the makeshift crowd, I guess, throughout the entire segment, which was kind of hilarious. Roddy Strong, once he made eye contact with Lumis, absolutely split quick. He got ghost real fast and ran off the stage as the segment ended. Gargano and Candice versus Keith Lee and Mia Yim. This was actually a pretty good match. From start to finish. I could argue this was better than the Takeover match. This was all four people got their stuff in. We saw quality. The match kind of turned when Lee pounced Gargano, and the momentum of Gargano took himself into Candice, which took himself into Mia. Mia kind of crashed off the boards, just eliminated her from the proceedings. And then Gargano tried to do one final heartbeat to Keith Lee, which he was successful, but Lee's weight landed on Candice. Lee weighs 340 pounds or so that took Candice out of commission. And while Keith Lee tried to be the gentleman here and remove Candice from the proceedings, Gargano rolled out Keith Lee and pinned him, and Gargano steals the win for him and his wife. Good match though. This is a good match, probably the best match of the evening. Indus Sher, which from what I understand is Indian for Indian Lions, but these two big dudes continue to go in as they disposed of some local competition. Keep building them up. They look like they're going to be a solid team. This is a squash match. Just keep building these boys up because these boys look like they're going to be nice in due time. Let's see here. We got Breezango. We got a video of Breezango, and they're kind of admitting they had to be more serious. Yes, they do goofy stuff from entrance ramp to bell, but they even admit themselves they got to be better and got to be more serious when business begins. They're going to have to be because next week they fight Imperium for the tag titles. They get their title shot after winning a number one contenders triple threat match with Undisputed Era and Lorcan and Birch last week. Next up, so it was a good video package though. Cameron Grimes tried his hardest to get out of fighting Finn Balor, as he already beaten him a couple weeks ago with a little bit of help from Damian Priest. This kind of started with Grimes did a promo, did an interview with NXT earlier tonight, and then he mentioned Damian Priest, that Priest couldn't beat Balor, even though Grimes already did. Priest shows up at the end of the interview and clocks him right in the face. So then Grimes tries to fib that he had a broken jaw. And it turns out Grimes was obviously fibbing, as Cameron was talking to some ladies before his match. Regal and the referee caught him and basically ordered him to get ready for the match. And it turns out this was a good decision. Cam Grimes actually put up a very good fight against Finn Balor one-on-one. Grimes brought his best. Unfortunately, it was not enough, as Balor hit an inverted 1916, the coup de grace, and then the actual 1916 to get it done. But this was a good match for Cam Grimes. He actually did put up a very good fight against the former NXT champion. Balor, immediately after said match, directed his attention towards Keith Lee, saying, all right, I've held a lot of titles in my career, but not the North American one. So he wants Keith Lee. That should be a good match. Dakota Kai versus Casey Catanzaro, I should say. Decent match. There was no chicanery from Raquel Gonzalez. Ultimately, it was the GTK, which was the Dakota Kick. And for those who haven't seen it before, it is basically the GTS with exception of she kind of drops, lands back first. Kai does, with one of her knees up. Her left knee kind of up into the chest of her opponent, but the right foot kicks her in the head. So that's kind of a visual of the GTK, the Dakota Kick, for Dakota Kai. After the match, we got a little bit of stuff from Kaden Carter, who came to kind of help because this became a 2-on-1 situation after Dakota Kai made her intentions known that she wanted a piece of Io Shirai. Kaden Carter came out afterwards, and eventually Raquel Gonzalez proved to be way too much for Kaden Carter and disposed of her with an inverted powerbomb. So Gonzalez and Kai stood tall at the end of the segment. And El Hijo de Fantasma was about to do an interview, and as it turns out, he got interrupted immediately by Drake Maverick. Maverick tried to show some love and said, okay, now that my head's free and clear and I got my contract, like he got the contract last week after he lost, he's like, okay, what would happen if my head is clear and we get to run it back? So it looked like that Phantasma agreed with it. Everything was cool. All right, they shook hands. Everything was going to be great. But then the two goons who have been kind of showing up and in these masks and been attacking some of the cruiserweights in the back, in the parking lots and whatnot. So they came down to the ring. And it looked like this was going to be a 2-on-2 showdown. Well, 2-on-2 turned to 3-on-1 because Phantasma promptly turned around and Drake Maverick suddenly got triple teamed and promptly destroyed by all three parties involved. Phantasma hits the Michinoku driver, or the Phantom driver, and then the two men who have been masked men jumping everybody revealed themselves to being Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza. I like both of these dudes too, so I'm perfectly okay with this. This could be a very entertaining crew. And then the champion removed his own mask and truthfully revealed his identity as Santos Escobar. And he claims to be completely untouchable. This was a really good reveal and a really good heel turn. I like this. I like the way they played this off and played this out the entire time. So this is going to be fun. I think with these three as a crew. With Escobar, Wilde, and Mendoza. I think this is going to be a pretty good crew. So I'm here. This is a very good reveal after these backstage attacks. I think this will be fun. And it builds the sympathetic angle for Maverick as Maverick's continuous climb to get the title continues to build. And screams a takeover situation where Maverick finally beats Escobar and finally gets the payoff. So I think this is a really good build. Now to the main event of Loomis versus Cole. Not bad. It wasn't too bad. Loomis continued to troll in the last segment leading up to the main event, as he was kind of leering into the peephole of the door to Undisputed Era's locker room area setup, and then the match itself happened, and it wasn't too bad. For the most part, it was a straight up match until the very end, where it looked like Loomis was about to finish the deal with his submission hold, but instead, the Kanatami, I should say. But then Fish distracted the ref as he had the Kanatami on him. Cole backed him into Roddy Strong. Roddy Strong caught him in an enziguri. By him, I mean Loomis. Last shot for Cole, 1, 2, 3. Cole wins the match. Then Cole thinking, okay, I'm gonna get some more verbal shots in. He starts to talk some trash to Loomis. Loomis basically rises from the dead and catches him with a count of Tommy until Roddy Strong and Bobby Fish come back to make this a 3-on-1 scenario. Velveteen Dream would come out to do his part and get Strong and Fish away from the ring. Adam Cole physically remained relatively unscathed after the match, but then Scarlett comes out, and Scarlett leaves a little bit of a message to Adam Cole in the form of sands in an hourglass, leaving it in the form of an hourglass. And she flips it over, revealing sands. Knowing full well the meaning is simple. Tick-tock. Time is coming for Karrion Kross to come after Cole in the NXT Championship. So it's obvious that Karrion Kross they're going all in with Kross, and an entrance that neither of us really like very much at all. Even though bell to bell, Kross is a beast, the entrance itself, not good. That's NXT. But WWE's got some other business this weekend. From what happened tonight to what's going to have to happen at Backlash. Backlash has been kind of obviously built up around Edge and Orton. We'll get to that in a little bit. But the show itself is going to begin. We got Apollo Crews versus Andrade. Andrade won a triple threat match with Angel Garza and Kevin Owens on Raw. He actually pinned Garza on Raw. So he's going to get number one contender. He's number one contender for the U.S. Championship. So we'll see him and Crews run it back. They're 1-1 in their series. So we'll see them run it back and then kind of finish the series off, if you will. Bayley and Sasha won the women's tag team championships last Friday night on SmackDown, and the Iconics had already beaten Alexa and Nikki previously. So in one-on-one matches with Nikki. So the three teams are going to fight in a triple threat match for the women's tag team championships that Bayley and Sasha currently hold. Jeff Hardy's going to finally get his hands on Sheamus in a match, as the whole police angle was pretty bad a couple weeks ago, and Hardy and Sheamus have had some attacks, and they've attacked each other recently as well on SmackDown, and they're going to go at it one-on-one. Asuka versus Nia. Asuka had a really good match with Charlotte on Raw to end the show, until then Nia got involved to kind of throw the result to let it be murky. Charlotte caught her with a boot, Asuka with a boot to get the pin. So Charlotte goes one-on-one and her back-to-back nights to main events. And then Nia with the Samoan drop to finish the show off against Asuka. But we'll see Nia versus Asuka for the Women's Championship. Strowman versus Miz and Morrison for the Universal Championship. This build has been okay, I guess. Strowman on last Friday night on SmackDown actually was the victim somewhat, with the target of some pranks by Miz and Morrison. They destroyed the windshield of Strowman's car. They tried to dump slime on her and stick on Kayla Braxton. And then Strowman promptly tipped over the van that Miz and Morrison were kind of hiding in the entire night. But he's going to fight them both in a 2-on-1 handicap match. The match I'm most looking forward to for this event is McIntyre versus Lashley. They've actually done a very good job of building this match up between Drew and Bobby, with using the Claymore, the Spear, and the Full Nelson that Lashley's currently using as parts of the story with these two physical dudes. I'm looking forward to this match very much between McIntyre and Lashley. I'd like to see Lashley win, but I think McIntyre is going to be too much, and McIntyre retains. But this looks like it's going to be a very good match. And then the match that they've really built this whole pay-per-view around, this whole greatest match ever situation between Edge and Randy Orton. I think they've overplayed this. I think they've overhyped this badly. I think they can have a decent match, but I think they're putting way too much attention on Edge and Randy. This absolutely is going to main event the show. If it didn't, it'd be really, really sad. I'd have to think Edge wins and closes this out, but the way that they're building this up, they're gassing this match up hard between Edge and Randy Orton. So that's Backlash coming up this Sunday. I think it'll be a pretty good show. But the match I'm looking forward to the most is Drew versus Bobby for the WWE Championship. The Cougs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I have nothing to say on Backlash because I haven't watched anything. Sorry, I'm tired. My bad. I got distracted on Twitter.
Twitter always is a buzz. It always is a buzz.
But Edge and Randy Orton is going to be bad.
I'm very concerned. I don't want this match to completely suck. I really don't want this match to completely suck. I'm very concerned that it's going to suck. I'm in agreement there. I just think they're putting way too much pressure. They're putting way too much pressure on these two dudes. Now, like in their prime, peak of powers, Edge and Orton, yeah, they can go hard in the paint with it. They're nicer at peak of powers, but neither of them are, and that's the part that concerns me. Although Friday Night SmackDown having Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship, and I think one thing SmackDown has done, SmackDown's actually been very good with the wrestling.
Yeah.
So I think SmackDown with wrestling has actually done a very good job over the last month or so. They've had some good storylines. They've had some good hooks. The only crappy thing that's happening is Otis's Money in the Bank. But other than that, it's been a pretty. I mean, they're going on with the Otis Mandy Rose thing. But other than that, SmackDown with actual wrestling has been good. So I think that's we're getting Daniel versus AJ. That should be a classic. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing that. That's on Friday.
Yeah, it's so played out at this point. I just want New Japan Pro Wrestling back.
Well, don't worry, you only gotta wait 6 more days.
I only gotta wait 6 more days.
It's almost gonna be 5 days because it's almost 11 o'clock. So you only gotta wait that much longer. You're gonna get your brand of wrestling back, your favorite brand of wrestling back. And you're gonna get it back very soon.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird watching it with no crowd.
Yeah, it is.
The crowd's some part of it.
The crowd does make New Japan give New Japan the energy that missing link of energy that show needs. I think of the three main companies, I think WWE needs the crowd the most. But I'm not sure. But I'd argue that New Japan may feed off of it the best.
Yeah.
I think that's which is what I've gathered from the three companies. And yeah, like each crowd has their quirks to it. Each crowd brings their own flair and like their own separate modes of energy to it. But I don't think any company feeds off their crowd better than New Japan does.
Right.
So I think that's just the thing that sticks out to me. WWE, I think, needs their crowd the most, with like fan participation and some entrances that people would sing. And I think like AEW's crowd is certainly the loudest, but no one feeds off their crowd better than New Japan's. I mean, that's gonna be the part that's missing for a while until everything kind of calms down.
Yeah. But yeah. Twitter.com/DJDCooks. Where you can find me.
Mm-hmm.
And where can people find you, Beast Mike?
Twitter.com/Beast Mike is where you can find me. I will obviously be tweeting about what's going to go down at Backlash this Sunday. I've made it a thing to do the whole like eating locally, and like if I'm going to eat locally on Saturday or whatever, I usually do it on Saturdays. Whatever I eat locally now, I'll continue to update where and kind of give a shout out to those restaurants I order from. Clearly, that worked last week on Facebook with Food from the Heart 2 weeks ago. Last week, that turned out to be a very the whole like social media blew up after I did that, so that was a good look there. But yeah, Twitter.com/BeastMikes where you can find me. I will certainly be tweeting about Backlash and talking about what's going on with each match.
And yeah, and Black Lives Matter.
Yes.